Can you imagine? I mean, here we are in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and we are premiering at the LA Regal Live Theater, which is literally in central LA, with 1,700 submissions, and we were chosen to be the first one.
One Upstate lifestyle brand is taking their storytelling skills overseas and onto the big screen. Months ago, founder of Spartanburg-based Elysian magazine, Karen Floyd, who you just heard from, packed up a suitcase and headed to Ukraine with one goal in mind: telling the stories of women impacted by the Russian invasion, turning the trip into a documentary. Fight for Ukraine, 12 Women's War is a stark reminder to those not in Eastern Europe that this war rages on. Today marks 590 days since Russia invaded Ukraine. In the 10 days she was there, Karen tells me she witnessed numerous attacks, both day and night. The documentary's focus, though, isn't on the gore, but on women, highlighting Karen's encounters with 12 different women, from a Supreme Court justice to nurses, a translator, and a widow. The film showing their strength, bravery, and determination to remain in their motherland. Karen tells me these women continue to inspire her every day.
I hunger to hear the stories of women with a core of steel. I hunger for that. I'm really curious about how they can do it and what makes them different. And I think that that experience in Ukraine with these incredibly brave women, I think it made me want to do more, because they're doing so much with not a lot.
The documentary represents about 2 years of work for Elysian, and they say this is just the beginning. They have more stories up their sleeve in the future. A Fight for Ukraine, 12 Women's War is opening up the 2023 Awareness Film Festival in Los Angeles tonight. It's a film that also gives back, raising money for When Life Sucks, an Upstate nonprofit. Now, earlier this week, I had the chance to chat with Sherry Biggs and Patrick Ellswick, who both work with the group, about what the documentary means to them and how the funds will help. Take a listen. We're going to get to your involvement in the film, but first, I know you both have seen it. So what were your thoughts when you got to see this documentary?
Oh, wow. First of all, I just thought it was incredibly brave of Karen Floyd, going into those areas that were just devastated to meet and gather the information to put this documentary together. And I just think it's going to be very informative and uplifting to those women.
Absolutely. We're talking about a Spartanburg woman who was feet on the ground in Ukraine, absolutely brave, and telling the story through women, I think, was such a unique angle that we don't always get to see. What does it feel like for you? I know you both are involved in the documentary, to now have this piece of the Upstate represented really on a national stage as it premieres tonight.
Well, for me, I feel honored just to even be a part of it. I think, as I mentioned, it's very uplifting. I think it's not about war. It's not for or against war, but it just tells the stories of these brave individuals.
And I know that a component of it is actually to give back, even here in the Upstate, and that's where When Life Sucks comes in. Patrick, tell me a little bit about this group.
So we focus a lot on mental health, just like Sherry was talking about, and having a woman's perspective is really key, because in the Iraq War we had a lot more women fight in Afghanistan and the Iraq War, and a lot of the stories are never told. So as time goes on and those women get older, you know, the stories will come out, and you know, they don't really ask for help a lot, and that's where we want to let those women know, even if it's here or Ukraine, to reach out for help, and it's okay to do that.
And when you found out that Karen and Elysian wanted to partner with you with this film, what was that like?
I thought that was really, you know, an honor from our perspective to actually, you know, donations that will come in will actually help the groups here in the States with When Life Sucks, but also we're going to partner with some people over in Ukraine to let some of the money go there to help, you know, with PTSD and the things that are going to happen during this war.
I know you both do help a lot with those struggling with PTSD. If you were to give kind of one piece of advice to somebody walking through that battle right now, what would it be? I know that's a big question.
For me, I think just being able to reach out for help when you're not able to cope with your issues. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, the most brave thing you could do is actually ask for help. That's the first step, and that's what we have to do, because a lot of people we help, it's kind of weird with When Life Sucks. You're never going to see it on TV, and we're not going to tell you their names. And that becomes really hard, because people wonder what we do with the funds, what we do with this, but we can't put those people's names out there because it's hard enough for them to actually come ask us for help in the first place.
Absolutely. Well, it is premiering the documentary tonight. What is one thing you hope that those that get to see it take away from the project?
Well, I just hope that everybody gets to see a woman's perspective of what happens in war, because their perspective is a little different, and particularly these people were invaded and they had to do extracurricular activities and still be mothers and still be wives during this whole process, and also fight the war at the same time, and they didn't want to leave their place, and that's a whole different perspective that, you know, we can't even talk about here.
Yeah, I know we've all seen the documentary, and it really is very impactful, very educational, so I'm excited that it's officially kind of out in the world and people can go and see it. Thank you both so much for stopping by today. And as a reminder, the documentary, Fight for Ukraine, 12 Women's War, is premiering tonight at the 14th Annual Awareness Festival in Los Angeles. It's actually kicking off the entire event at 6 p.m. tonight. So to learn more about the movie or the work When Life Sucks is doing, head to foxcarolina.com.